peel off his face with a surgical knife and stick it on mine. Although not considered one of the stronger leagues in Europe, there's no denying that the Portuguese top division has the knack of bringing through some top talents. The legendary generation that just missed out on winning Euro 2004 on home soil lit the fire in many young talents, and they eventually managed to bring the same trophy home 12 years later. So to say that the league isn't of any good standard, well, it's just not right. Even with the big clubs sniffing around their players, the likes of Porto and Benfica are always managing to put together some good teams who could do some serious damage on the continental stage. So with news that Eder Militao is moving to Real Madrid from Porto for £50 million in the summer, I've been thinking about which other talents could potentially leave the Portuguese Premier Division this summer. Now first up, and it's a name that you've probably heard of in the last few weeks, as both Manchester clubs are desperate to sign him. With 32 goals and 17 assists in all competition this season, it's no wonder that City and United are really looking at Sporting's Bruno Fernandes. The 24-year-old's brilliant ability means he can play in a deep line playmaking position, as well as being an attacking midfielder. He's got excellent feet, he can play one or two touch when needed, he's got brilliant dribbling ability past opponents, and he's got more than an eye for goal, as demonstrated this season. For any team in the top of European football who wants to play possession-based football, Bruno Fernandes has to be on the top of their transfer target list. That's if they're willing to part with around £60 million for him. Second on the list, and it's someone rather lesser known because he plays for a lesser known club in Portugal. Now I'm trying to keep things a little bit interesting and not just making it all Sporting, Benfica or Porto players, which is why the second player on this list is the 23-year-old Chiquinho. Since the turn of the year, his value has tripled, and it's not difficult to see why. He's currently playing for Moreirense, who currently sit in 5th position in the Portuguese league. This is behind the Big Four, which basically means that they're the best of the rest, kind of like Wolves are doing this season in the Premier League. As he's helped his team to sit behind the likes of Braga, Sporting, Porto and Benfica, he scored 8 goals and 7 assists along the way. And even though he's not a massive name, he could still make a move in the summer. It's actually because of this that he'll probably go for a lesser fee, and for any big club with all the millions they've got, he'll literally cost absolutely nothing. However, having said this, if he goes to one of the bigger teams, I can't see him playing or developing like he should. Maybe it's better to see him go to a mid-table side where he'll get far more game time. Regardless, he's still a top player. Our first Benfica player makes an appearance now, and if he does move to Old Trafford, he'll be following in the footsteps of former Benfica centre-back Victor Lindelof. That's only if Manchester United are willing to pay the £52 million price tag for centre-half Ruben Diaz. If they do, they'll be getting one hell of a player, and at age only 21, he's got so many more years to grow into the role and go on to become a brilliant defender. Diaz came through the Benfica youth side and has now become an integral part of the team, which has almost secured the title. He's also won 9 caps for the Portuguese national team, which means he gets to test himself against Cristiano Ronaldo in training, which is probably the best learning opportunity you're going to get as a young centre-back. Our next player, much like Chiquinho, is playing for a lesser team, which means he could be an absolute steal in the transfer market. Aves right-back Rodrigo Suarez has had a blinding season on the right-hand side, chipping in with 4 goals and 5 assists. At 26 years old, it's fair to say his career hasn't exactly hit the heights that it could have done by now. However, the defender hasn't actually renewed his contract with the club, meaning that he'll be on a free in the summer. Now, of course, any big team wanting to sign him wouldn't have to pay an astronomical fee anyway because of where he's coming from. However, now they can literally just go straight to him and offer him a deal. I'd be amazed if he went to a top European club. However, any team in the lower reaches of the Premier League or even the top of the Championship could definitely do with a flying right back just like Suarez. Next up, and to a centre back who only joined from Olympiacos last summer after 1 year's loan at Braga. He moved for €3 million, and if the rumours are true that Lazio and Villarreal are both interested in bringing in the defender for around €25 million, well, that's a pretty good resale value just 1 year later. Unfortunately for Braga, they are the 4th best team in Portugal, but they're nowhere near breaking the stronghold of the top 3, apart from the odd season here and there. This gets even worse when their best players often get picked off even by the bigger clubs in the same league. Unfortunately for them, it looks like Verona may well be on the move, especially if the kind of money that's being offered is to come to reality. Unfortunately, you just can't keep a strong, tall, brilliant centre-back down for long. Sporting Lisbon provide our next player, and it's the fullback slash wing-back Marcos Acuna, who has managed 8 assists this season, and when you add it to the 9 he managed last season, is putting in some pretty impressive numbers that many clubs around Europe will be willing to take a punt on. The fullback does have 17 caps for Argentina and was in the squad last summer as they crashed out of the World Cup to France, but even so, he's still got international experience and has been a top player in the Portuguese league for the last few years. This nearly culminated in a move to Zenit St. Petersburg in January, however that didn't quite happen, but you can be sure that many other teams will be in for him again this summer. Number 7 now, and it's Joao Felix. Now there isn't much I could say that hasn't already been said about the wonder kid, but if you're going to be dubbed the next CR7, well, you must be pretty good. The 19-year-old has been an integral part in Benfica's title charge this season and their run to the quarter-finals of the Europa League, with 19 goals, 11 assists and a couple of hat-tricks along the way, as well as becoming the youngest ever player to score a hat-trick in the UEFA Europa League. It's no wonder that so many big clubs are looking at him, however, the £100 million price tag probably just limits him to a few choices. It's only really the likes of United, City, Real Madrid and Barcelona that are going to be able to afford that. Back to the slightly more obscure names, and it's the left winger from Real Ave, Wenderson Galeno. The winger has produced 5 goals and 5 assists this season, but is actually on loan from Porto, and even when he goes back at the end of the season, it may not necessarily be the best move for him. Currently, Porto have a wealth of attacking options, and with the money they receive from the selling of players, they can go out and buy a brand new player rather than promoting youth products like Galeno. At the moment, the Algerian Yacine Brahimi is one of the best players in the squad, but he's refused to sign a new contract, meaning he'll be leaving on a free in the summer. So, does Galeno come back and go straight into the team? I can't necessarily see it happening just now, but at such a young age, he needs to be playing games. This is where another club could step up and bring him for as a relatively small fee in today's transfer market. So for the last two, let's finish off with a couple of fullbacks. One we'll get to in a moment, who's interesting in the likes of Dortmund, and the other who is a fantastic fullback for Porto. It's Alix Telles. With 13 goals and 6 assists this season, it's practically a win-win situation for Porto. If they keep him over the summer, they're holding on to a brilliant player, and if they don't, they're going to be selling him for a lot of money. With Atletico Madrid rumoured to be circling, though, it does look like he may be moving on eventually in the summer, even though reports that Juventus were also interested in last summer may have not come to fruition. You can see him fitting in extremely well in Diego Simeone's side, especially as the likes of Felipe Luis look to be on their way out. Last but not least, of course, we finish on a Benfica player. In fact, they have so many good players that they're facing a similar dilemma in the summer to that of Ajax, where if they let go all of their players, they'll have a load of cash, but they won't have much of a squad left. One of those who will be a massive loss is fullback Alix Grimaldo. Now, he actually joined Benfica a few years ago from Barcelona's youth team, which just shows you how much of a gifted player he is. Maybe at the time he just wasn't gifted enough to overtake Jordi Alba at left back. Not many players are. However, the decision to join Benfica has proved to be a fruitful one, and now the likes of Dortmund are casting an eye over him after an impressive season with 8 goals and 11 assists. Grimaldo is also yet to feature for the Spanish national team. However, should he move to a bigger club, no disrespect to Benfica there, and get more game time, especially in the Champions League, well, that will just show off his talent even more, and you may find that he'll be in the Spanish national setup sooner rather than later. So there you have it, 10 players who could potentially be on the move for the Portuguese Premier League this summer. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below anyone I've missed off and where any of these players could potentially end up. Of course, while you're down there, you can also smash the like button, and until next time, I will see you guys later.